Have you ever noticed how sometimes the people we love most start doing little things that, well, make us cringe? Maybe it's a comment at the dinner table that falls flat, or a habit they don't realize is pushing others away. And here's the tricky part. Nobody tells them. Today, let's talk about those unspoken habits many of us develop as we age. Not to shame anyone, but to gently awaken our awareness. Because the truth is, even the best of us can drift into patterns that dim our light, and we might not even know it. Now, I'll be honest, this conversation might feel uncomfortable at times, but think of it like pruning a rose bush. A little careful trimming lets the blooms shine brighter. So let's start with the first habit that often creeps in without us noticing: neglecting personal hygiene. I know, it's a sensitive topic. But here's the thing. As our senses dull, we might not notice a faint odor in our clothes or that our breath isn't as fresh as it used to be. My Uncle Joe, God rest his soul, was a proud man. But in his 80s, he'd wear the same cardigan for days, insisting it's perfectly clean. Meanwhile, his grandkids would invent excuses not to sit too close. It broke his heart, though he never understood why. Here's the kind fix. Make hygiene easy. Keep stain removal wipes by your chair. Invest in a shower chair if standing tires you. And here's a tip from my friend Marge. She sets a weekly refresh alarm to wash her favorite sweater. Small efforts send a powerful message. I respect myself and you. Now, the second habit is one we've all witnessed: oversharing medical details. Picture this. You're at a family picnic, enjoying potato salad, when Aunt Edna launches into graphic details about her hip replacement. Everyone's suddenly very interested in the cloud formations. We do this because we're seeking connection, but it often backfires. My neighbor Bert used to dominate conversations with his cholesterol numbers. Then his daughter taught him the 5-second rule. Before sharing a health update, he asks himself, is this helpful or just habitual? Now he'll say, Doc gave me some new goals. Ask me after dessert. It keeps things light and leaves room for joy. Third on our list, giving unsolicited advice. Oh, this one's sneaky. We've lived decades gathering wisdom. Of course we want to share it. But when we lecture our granddaughter about her parenting or critique a stranger's grocery choices, it doesn't land as love. It feels like judgment. Here's a trick I learned from my wise grandma. Replace "you should" with "I wonder." Instead of "you should marry that nice man," try "I wonder what adventures you're dreaming up next." It opens doors instead of closing them. And the fourth habit? Interrupting to tell back-in-my-day stories. Now, I'm guilty of this. But when we cut someone off to reminisce, we unintentionally say their moment doesn't matter. My friend Clara caught herself doing this with her teenage great-grandson. Now, she keeps a story notebook. When she feels the urge to interrupt, she jots a note to share later. Turns out, he asks to read it more often than she ever imagined. These first four habits, hygiene, oversharing, unsolicited advice, and interrupting, they're not flaws. They're just dust on the mirror, hiding the vibrant person underneath. And here's the beautiful truth. Awareness is the first step to change. But there's more to explore. Habits that shape how we're seen in the world, and more importantly, how we feel about ourselves. You know, I've always thought of habits like woodworking. Some patterns carve beauty, while others leave splinters. Last time, we talked about 4 habits that might accidentally push people away. Today, let's smooth out 4 more. Not with shame, but with the same care we'd fix a wobbly table leg. Because even the strongest relationships need a little sanding now and then. 5th on our list is constant negativity. Now, I'm not talking about venting after a tough day. We all need that. I mean, the drizzle of complaints. The weather's too hot. The grandkids are too loud. The soup's too salty. My Uncle Walt became a master at this. He'd say, "My hip hurts," then sigh when asked about his garden. Over time, his kids stopped asking. "Dad's stuck in a rain cloud," they'd say. But here's the truth. Negativity isn't just hard on others, it shrinks your world. Here's a trick my friend Rose uses, the 5-minute gratitude jar. Every morning she writes one tiny joy on a slip. Heard a bluebird sing, socks matched on first try, and drops it in. When she feels a complaint rising, she pulls a slip instead. Turns out, she laughs, my jar's fuller than my gripes. Try it. Even forced gratitude can rewire your brain for sunshine. Next up, criticizing modern ways. Kids these days! Sound familiar? We've earned our wrinkles, sure, but lecturing about the good old days can feel like dismissing someone else's story. My neighbor Ethel used to huff about screen zombies. Then her grandson taught her TikTok dances. Now she's the family's #grandma. And guess what? She's learned more about her grandkids in 6 months than 6 years of Sunday dinners. Here's the shift. Swap in my day for teach me. Ask your niece why she loves those neon sneakers. Let the barista show you how their fancy espresso machine works. Curiosity bridges generations better than any sermon. 7th habit, resisting help with technology. Now I get it. Updates feel like sabotage, but refusing to learn isolates us. My buddy Lou would snap, "I don't need that gadget nonsense," until his pharmacy moved prescriptions online. His pride cost him 2 missed doses. Finally, he let his teen neighbor teach him. Over pie, not pressure. Now he texts bad jokes daily. Took a village, he says, but the village brought dessert. Start small. Ask a kid to show you one app feature. Write steps on sticky notes. And remember, every tech-savvy person was once baffled too. Progress, not perfection. 8th habit's a tender one, overstepping privacy. Questions like, when are you getting married? Or how much did that cost? Slip out with good intentions. But like my Aunt Jenny learned after asking her daughter about fertility struggles, some doors stay closed until invited. "I just wanted to help," she cried, but love sometimes means not filling the silence. Try this. Pause and ask, is this my business or theirs? If it's theirs, offer an open door instead of prying. "I'm here if you ever want to talk," works wonders. Trust me, they'll walk through when ready. These habits, negativity, criticism, tech resistance, and privacy oversteps, they're not moral failures. They're just old shoes that don't fit the path ahead. But here's the hope. Every moment is a chance to lace up new ones. And when we meet again, we'll tackle the final stretch. Habits that shape how we see ourselves and the legacy we leave. You know, gardening teaches us a lot about people. Some blooms need more light, others thrive in shade, but every plant gets tangled now and then. These final habits we'll talk about, they're like those stubborn vines. Not bad, just needing a little untwining so the whole garden can breathe. Let's finish this journey with care, not judgment. Starting with the ninth habit, dominating conversations. We've all met someone who turns every chat into a monologue. Maybe it's us unwittingly. My Uncle Frank used to say, "Let me tell you about my gallbladder." And suddenly, an hour's gone. It comes from a good place. We want to connect, but it leaves others feeling unheard. Here's the fix. The two-question rule. For every story you share, ask two questions. What's your favorite summer memory? How'd you learn to make that pie? Suddenly, you're not just talking, you're dancing. 10th habit, hoarding to the point of discomfort. Now, saving keepsakes is one thing, but when every surface drowns in clutter, it pushes people away. My friend Doris's home became a museum of, "I might need this someday." Her grandkids stopped visiting, afraid to touch anything. Then she started the one in, one out rule. New crossword book? Donate an old one. It's not about emptiness. It's about making space for life to happen. 11th on our list? Dismissing others' struggles? You think that's bad. When I was your age? Sound familiar? We say it to empathize, but it can feel like a dismissal. When my niece shared her work stress, I almost launched into my factory days. Instead, I said, "That sounds exhausting. What helps you unwind?" Her relief was palpable. Sometimes, "That's hard" is the greatest gift we can give. And the 12th habit, the quietest but most profound, refusing to apologize. I'm too old to change, we declare. But here's the truth. An apology isn't about being wrong. It's about valuing the relationship over pride. My neighbor Ed stormed out of a birthday dinner over a silly joke. Days later, he mumbled, "I overreacted." That sorry didn't shrink him, it freed him. Now his family calls him Grandpa Growth. So there we are, 12 habits, not sins, just human knots we all tangle into. But here's what I want you to take away. Awareness is grace. Every time you pause before complaining, every time you ask instead of assume, you're not fixing yourself. You're honoring the incredible person you've always been and the relationships that make life sweet. Now, I'd love to hear your stories. Did any of these habits ring a bell? What's one tiny change you've made or want to make? Drop a comment below. Your words might be the nudge someone needs. And if this series resonated, pass it on. Let's normalize these conversations, not as criticism, but as love letters to our future selves. Thank you for walking this path with me. Remember, aging isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming more you. Pruning the habits that no longer serve, watering the ones that help you bloom. However many seasons you've got left, make them vivid. And when you stumble, well, that's just proof you're still dancing.